Hey, this is Jason with 4W Knives. I have a project today. Took trampoline springs and some ball bearings, and I'm going to do some canister Damascus. Before I start, I soak the springs in some muriatic acid to remove the outer coating. Never used muriatic acid before. It was kind of scary, honestly. It bubbled and sizzled and made some stink, and I let it soak for a couple hours and then put it in some baking soda and just tried to keep it stabilized after that. While it was soaking, I sprayed the inside of the canister with some white spray paint that is supposed to help keep it from sticking. I used to use whiteout. It was hard to find, so I started using paint, and it works like a charm. All right, so got the inside of the canister painted, and now I'm going to start putting the springs and the balls in. Just so happens they fit pretty snug. Not perfect, but snug. Maybe. Could have swore they were going to fit better than that. There. I had to swing hammer on them a little bit, but I got them in there. And then I'm just going to fill the inside of the spring with these ball bearings for a couple of reasons. I think one, it might be a cool contrast, something different. And two, I don't have a whole lot of the powdered steel, and I was afraid I wouldn't have enough to fill all the spots. So hopefully it'll be cool. Just trying to be creative. I don't know, it might be stupid, but it seemed like something to do. I've been wanting to do canister Damascus with ball bearings. I've been wanting to do it with spring. So I'm doing it with both at the same time. So we'll see what it happens. I'm hoping that the springs create a little bit of a twist like pattern, and then with the powder steel and the ball bearings, I'm hoping that we just get a really unique look. So unique sometimes is not attractive, but sometimes it's really cool. There were a couple of things I did not account for. First of which was the size of the square tubing was bigger than what my forge really needed to handle. So it was a little difficult to get it to heat up. It did heat up, and it got hot enough because it all comes out okay. And plus it was too big for the squaring dies that I'd made for some other square tubing I had. But like I said, fortunately, it came out, it worked okay. The weld on the back of the lid popped off really early, and that scared me, but it all holds together. All right, so I've got it out. It's still a little bit warm, but it's decent. It does have a couple of little cracks or fractures, whatever you want to call it, right in here. So what I'm going to do, normally I'd grind those out, but what I think I'm going to do instead is I'm going to heat it back up to forge welding temps and compress it this way, and then expand it out lengthwise, hoping that maybe I can close in some of those. All right, so it looks like I've got a pretty solid piece. I'm hoping they're just surface cracks. You can see them here. And there's a few more on this side. I've had to grind off quite a bit of the side to get rid of any of the voids. But for the most part, I think it's looking all right. What I'm going to do is restack and forge weld it together. I'm going to do that just to absolutely make sure it's as solid as possible. And then I may do either sand my or go my or something like that with the billet at the end. So I'm going to take it to the grinder, clean it up, and restack. So you guys will probably see it after I get it cleaned up and put it in a forge to reforge weld. Okay, so a little change of plans. So what I think I'm going to do, these two pieces here that I've got stack written on are in pretty good shape. I don't see many surface cracks or anything, so I'm going to reforge weld those together. But that's going to be a separate video, which I'll try to get completed pretty soon after I finish this one. So this one has a little deeper surface crack. So I'm curious how much different the pattern will be with one that I don't restack. So I'm going to take this piece, it's about 4 inches long, a little over 1/4 of an inch thick, and I'm going to stretch it out and hand forge it into a hunting knife of some sort. I don't know really right off the bat, but do something like that. So this video is going to be the completion of this part of the billet, and we'll come out and see what kind of pattern it has, and then shortly thereafter I'll do another video on this to see how the pattern turns out after I restack it, and to see what changes there are. So that's the plan. Hopefully that sounds interesting to you guys. So. Okay, so first step for me in turning this into a knife is to take it to the roller mill and get it thinned out. I want it just under 1/4 of an inch. That's a good forging thickness for myself. Once I get it to that, I'll take it to the anvil where I'll do the rough shaping. Still learning on the anvil, still working my hammer work. So of course there's still going to be a lot of grinding on the grinder to get it to its final shape, but that's okay. All right, so here we are after the forging. I did not forge the bevels. It was wide enough and I just didn't want to. It looks like the steel is in pretty good shape. I do not see anything obvious that's going to stand out to cause me problems. I'll get this cut down and shaped on a grinder, and then do a good surface grind to make sure it's all flat and uniform and all of the inclusions are out, or at least the big ones are. So stay tuned. We'll get this shaped and finished up so we can see what. All right, so there's the knife. I've got it hand sanded to 800. And then this box right here is some Gator Piss. So thought it'd be good to add in just an unboxing. There's been a lot of hype on this online, so I thought I'd see if it was everything it was hooked up to be. It's like it's in a gallon container. I was hoping there was going to be some got the instructions on back. So I will follow these instructions all the way. I brought a new pitcher. We'll put that in there, and then I'll get back to it. All right, per their instructions, this is the second soaking. Prior to soaking, I sprayed it down with brake cleaner and made sure that it didn't have any streaks. No streaks. So I soaked it for 20 minutes, took it out, went through the same process, and now I'm putting it back in for another 20 minutes. Once it gets done, I will take a look and see what kind of pattern we have. All right, so I went ahead. This is the third soaking. Said after I do this, I need to neutralize it, which you can do a Windex. I do baking soda. So I will soak it in that. Careful not to rub anything on it too much. Immediately from that, it said to rinse it. I think I'll soak that for a second. I've got to go grab the WD-40. Be right back. Alright, got that, so it is soaked. Now I'm going to rinse it off in plain water. I think you'd want to dry it. Didn't say that. It said immediately soak it with WD-40. All right, so let it sit for, let me read here, 6 hours. So I'm gonna go air dry it for 6 hours. Sneak peek. All right, so here it is out of the Gator Piss. It's got some pretty neat designs on it. Nothing quite what I'd expected, but cool nonetheless. As far as the Gator Piss itself, I don't know that it was a lot different than the ferric. I will say just a little cleaner, if that makes sense. But there it is. So my plan is going to be, I'll put handles on this eventually. I might post it and then see if somebody's interested in what they want. I'll have the second billet done here pretty quick, so we can just kind of compare and see what the extra forging will do to it. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll try to do better next time. Thanks.